Hey, I got to talk about this because I'm getting so tired of it. I'm getting so tired of the real estate story that gets spun today. Even the phrases make me mad. And some of this will seem odd to you because over 30 years, it's just become part of the way we think about real estate in Canada, about housing in Canada. So the term property ladder, you've heard that before, probably. Property ladder. You've certainly heard the term starter home. Okay. We hear this from realtors now. Okay. Like, oh, don't worry. It's a dog crate condo, but don't worry. That's a starter home. It's a starter home. It's a starter dog crate piece of crap is what it is. But like, and the property ladder, like, what do you mean by property ladder? Oh, well, you're going to start here with the dog crate condo. You're going to scrimp and save and buy that. And the mortgage, and the mortgage is going to be still bigger than your parents ever dreamed of having a mortgage, right? And then you're going to make the dog crate condo is going to go up in price, except it didn't. But anyway, let's pretend it's 10 years ago and it did. Okay. So the property is going to go up. That starter home, the dog crate condo is going to go up. And then you're going to sell that at a profit. And then you're going to take that money and you're going to buy a tiny townhouse. Oh, shithole townhouse? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes, you're going to buy that. And then you're going to work on it a bit. You're going to do some renos and, you're going to wait and and then the price of that's going to go up. Okay, so far I've spent like 7 or 8 years and I've never lived in a place that I liked, but okay. And then it's going to go up. That shithole townhouse is going to go up, and then you're going to sell it, and then you're going to move into a semi or maybe even a small detached, and you're going to have a huge mortgage, but we're going to find a way to get you, by all the selling and all the commissions you've paid real estate agents and lawyers and all the property transfer tax you paid, like land transfer tax you paid. And that's going to be good for everybody. Yes. And you're going to end up finally, after years of moving and getting transaction costs and paying commissions, and then you finally may end up in a house that you like. Okay. And that's the property ladder. Do you see how that works? You get the starter home and then the property ladder. Okay. So let me just explain something. This is utter bullshit compared with the way the world worked in the 1980s and 90s. Okay. It did not work that way. Typically in big cities in Canada, you would buy a home I'm talking 80s, 90s now. You would buy a decent home, a nice home. It's brand new. There, the ground, the dirt, it's dirt. You have to put in some sod, and maybe the sod comes next year. Or there's no trees. You have to plant some trees. There's no landscaping, but it's a home. It's like a 18, 19, 2,000 square foot home, and it's in a neighborhood it's all over. That's what they looked like. They were all that. They were all homes that looked like yours. Okay, in a massive new subdivision, a massive new growing part of a new subdivision, a whole new area. Okay, it could be a whole new part of Calgary, a whole new part of Edmonton, a whole new part of Surrey, a whole new part of Mississauga, and it's growing and growing, and the houses and you buy them, and it's reasonable. You found a way to save up 5% down. Worked. The houses were all less than 400 grand. Some of them were less than 300 grand. And I'm talking about the 80s and 90s now. Okay. And you would buy that house and that was it. You would live in that house your life. You'd start there. You'd raise your children there because the schools would grow up as the neighborhood developed, and the rinks and the ball diamonds and the community centers and all the facilities would grow up around you, and you'd stay in that house, raise your children. Your children would leave. Sometimes they came back, but temporarily or not, but sometimes they'd come back, and you'd stay in that house. And there's people who bought in the 80s and 90s who are still in that house, and probably the mortgage has been paid. Maybe they got talked into by a kid to get a line of credit to get some down payment. But at the end of the day, they stayed in that house. And staying in that house was an incredible benefit because you could pay it off. You could live in a place that you were comfortable with your surroundings. You knew your neighbors for 25 years. It was a place. Now, Ron, what are you talking about? Some fantasy of, you're going back in time. Nothing works like that now. Okay, nothing works like that now. But 35 years ago is not the Bronze Age. Okay, it's not like it's a forever ago. All right. But what happened? What stopped this excellent system by which you would buy a place, a single family place, maybe a semi? Who cares? There were nice semi neighborhoods built back then, and you could live there until one of you died. I mean, you'd raise your whole family, live your whole life there. So, hey, I didn't mean that there couldn't be a divorce. I don't mean that there couldn't be a job transfer, but there was an expectation that you could buy a place and stay there for decades. That was possible. The property ladder is not that. The property ladder assumes you're going to buy something you hate and then gradually sell multiple units, move through different phases, and pay a bunch of commissions and land transfer tax, and then eventually you would have the place that you'd like 10 or 15 years later. So this was 1980, early 1990s. You just bought it and stayed there. That was it. So what happened? What happened to cause this madness? First of all, density. Cities fell in love with density. Hazel McCallion, she's dead now, but she's a famous mayor of Mississauga. And then everything was running smooth. She was like a hero. And then all of a sudden everybody decided, you like sprawl, Hazel. You're a dirty bitch. You like sprawl, and we hate you. It's all density now. There's a bunch of urban planners, people who came out of university. They were always happy to live in a single-family home themselves, but they hated that anybody else could get one, okay? And they never actually worked at anything in their lives. They went from school to government, and then they decided that their theories would rule. And their theory was density, that nobody could live in a house anymore. Too much snow plowing, too much this, too much that, too much government expense. Let's just put everybody into a condo. Maybe if you're good, a townhouse. But really, we got to quit building all these Oh, and by the way, we're going to throw a green belt up that's a moat around the GTA so that you just have to stop building. Like you'd only build out so far and then you could never build anymore. Okay. That's our plan. Green belt, density, and you better like it because we're going to give it to you hard. Okay, that's what we're going to do. You are going to like it, said all these urban planners, politicians, all assorted academic D-bags, okay? And that's and the outcome of that is that you do minimum 4 different real estate transactions to finally get something that you really are happy to live in, and you better have a lot of increase in price because that's the way the property ladder works. You have to always get a significant jump in price. Hey, you get how this has ended up. It's ended up in the complete hellhole that we're in today, where every property in many cities in Canada the price is just batshit crazy.